So Valdis had basically found this circular grove, and there were 10 radiating points where the trees were in lines, very clearly not the same jungle as the wild about. And it was simply one of these that gave him the path forward, and you guys kind of walked in to this central location to bury Ganadais, and we will essentially pick up where you all would like to, uh, inside of that grove, either prior to or after burying them. It kind of depends how much you all actually want to roleplay into that moment. But before we necessarily jump in, since we are still essentially out of game, Chris, do you have any interest in telling a story with the story dice for inspiration today?
If I can skip today, I would be happy. I can
That is
turn.
perfectly fine. So I've got you at 4 inspiration right now. So with picking up as Terran, you can obviously use those whenever you'd like today. But with that,
I should have 0. I used my inspiration last game.
gotcha. Appreciate you letting me know.
I have a question. So
What do you have?
Valdis is down, but like, is Valdis dead, or is Valdis just at 0 hit points?
Oh no, he's dead.
And Island couldn't do anything about it?
Nobody could do anything about it. I'm pretty sure he got attacked and then got finished in the same moment. Like, he's dead.
Yeah, I think he went unconscious and then got hit with like acid, and that was 2 death saves. And then I think it was like, yeah, that was kind of how he.
I think Ganadais got finished by the flowers like that. I'm pretty sure there was a point where there were like 2 zombies in a row. One of them downed him, and then I think the other one attacked him twice on the ground and basically finished him. That was the thing. He's 100% dead. There's no, you guys don't have any recourse.
Yeah, no, I got down, attacked by 2 attacks, and then failed the death save immediately after.
Ah, yes, that's what it was. Okay.
All right. Thanks. Sorry, guys.
We're also exhausted, I think. Well, I don't know if like Barney and Island would be, but I think Jarek, Taryn, and Dirt would be still, because I don't think we've rested yet.
Yeah, effectively everybody but Barney on that level is. Part of what the decision was to go forward with was to try to push on through the day and not like sleep through daytime again, so you could actually wake up. You are within the 10 miles or so. You guys can actually see the crocodile statue of Camp Righteousness, or Camp Righteous. So you are within like visual distance of it. You guys are within the 10-mile mark of it. So when you wake up on Myrtle the 23rd, you will be able to make it there, approximately still early in the day, or roughly, high sun. Instead, I think you guys were waking up rather about high sun. But that puts you, part of, I think, the reason why you guys did not bury Ganadais right away and pushed on to where you had planned on stopping was that idea that you were still planning on having essentially a full day wherever you were stopping. And that day was potentially perfectly useful for finding a proper druid grove, which this sun location was meant to be. I think it was only in hindsight that you kind of would figure out that the yellow flower had kind of taken it as its own, and Valdis had almost woken it up with the initial visit. So, if we are picking up in those moments after, I kind of put it to you all. Do you have any sort of like rituals that you would like to actually go through in putting your friends to rest? Or do we want to pick up effectively after putting the 2 to rest in this, what is effectively an ancient druid grove.
So I think Jarek would probably, take a little bit of time, say, he's no, priest or anything, but he'd say a couple sort of prayers to Lathander, um, over the bodies, maybe. And given this seems like maybe there's the sun is somewhat connected with this grove as well, he would kind of maybe feel a little connection to that, but he's also it's kind of mixed with his, he feels like he's let the group down, and given that not one but two of his companions now have died, so he'd kind of be conflicted like that, and at the same time still worried about, knowing that, okay, we've dealt with these zombies and this plant thing, that doesn't mean we're safe here either, so it's kind of like trying to be respectful and, go through some ritual, also being cognizant of, like, we have to be careful about staying in one place too long without, um, still keeping watch and everything like that.
I think Dirt would also. I think Dirt would be muttering under his breath about how it was too soon, how this was a terrible place to die, but that hopefully, if there is an afterlife, that they find it.
Island encourages the rest of the party to celebrate that we're alive. Saloon leaves these mysteries for us. We can't understand them, but there's a reason. And arranges the body to spend some time, sort of wishes them on their way.
That's a good note. What kind of burial do you all have in mind? Do you want to put them under dirt? Do you want to cremate them? Have you thought about what you would like to do with your friends? But also, I would like to have a perception from Jarek and a religion from Dirt. Do you all have any thoughts on what you would like to do with their bodies?
I guess Dirt would say that perhaps he doesn't feel comfortable with their bodies being used to feed potential more carnivorous plants, but also that he didn't know them well enough to know if they had a preferred burial method.
Perhaps we should build a pyre if we can, and cremate the bodies. We don't want them, like you said, feeding any of these plants, or perhaps having their corpses desecrated, or they, I think they would prefer to be cremated, perhaps, if I may be so bold as to speak for the dead.
Island wants naked sky burial. So let's build a platform, leave them. They'll nurture the forest. That's how we do it.
Do you have a thought, Taryn?
I was thinking Terran would, Terran he would go for the cremation, because he doesn't want Valdin to be another undead or plant zombie or whatever. Doesn't want his corpse to be desecrated in any way.
And so, just like to clarify, if we do the cremation, are we setting the fire and leaving, or are we staying here while everyone in the forest comes to investigate?
I mean, we're not Not too far from our destination. We could try to make camp here.
Our other option is we take them to Camp Righteous.
I
But
feel like Valdis traveled about, I think it was close to an hour to this location. So you are well away from the river where you effectively have your boats, and I think prepared another camp.
we could try and take them on to Fort Righteous.
Islands, tells you guys is willing to do whatever everybody decides, but we shouldn't get ourselves killed over the dead.
Yeah, Valdis wouldn't want us dying over him or over his body anyway. So
That's right. Valdis would want us to die over saving Valdis, but not over saving Valdis's body.
yeah, pretty much. When he's already dead, doesn't really matter.
Amen, brother. So
So
what's the vote?
while you are all trying to decide what you do with the actual bodies themselves, you are well aware that there are actual afterlives. You would not be surprised to find that there is a certain chance that you could eventually travel to whatever existence Ganadais' soul is currently going to. And with or without her body, you could bring her back to life. That is something that is entirely possible, and it is entirely known to you that people have been there. That's perhaps one of the reasons why you long for magic and more power, is that ability to bring back people who you care about. And it is no small feat to do, but you are well aware that it is entirely possible. And that can often be the test of how much you care for somebody who is one of your friends or one of your family. And in the process of kind of going through your little initial ritual, Jarek, and keeping watch, you will eventually notice that there is indeed somebody who is paying attention to you. And while they don't seem to be a hostile person, they do seem to be curiously watching you. And with that, I will have Barney. Can you describe when somebody sees you from a distance, what they see? Perhaps like just of your face. How high off the ground is your face, as it's kind of seen through some low brush and kind of greenery at the edge of this clearing?
So I'm guessing my face would be about 2 feet off the ground. I'm only just under 5 foot tall. I'm sitting, just being respectful because I can see that they're trying to make arrangements for the dead. Just quietly watching and not obviously trying to hide, but not trying to be seen. And by the same token,
Do you have a clean shaven face?
no, bearded, brown beard, gray.
So, with that quick little initial, Jarek, can you describe again at that distance kind of what he sees, and then I'll actually have everybody just do a quick like description of what he's seeing. Basically, describe your character, please.
Sure. So Jarek is a little over 6 feet tall. He's got kind of like kind of short, dark brown, black hair, kind of drenched in, kind of mud spattered in water, and definitely been out in the forest for a bit. He seems to be wearing maybe some kind of leather armor. You can see he's got the probably see a crossbow over his back and a couple of swords at his side, and he's got a fairly serious expression on his face right now. It's probably, I guess, about what you could. He's got a pretty good solid build to him. That's probably about what you could see from there, I guess.
Can you describe Island for us?
Yeah, Island's skinny, blonde, medium. Like really seems not very strong, but thoughtful. He's got some kind of a necklace with a badge on it, and he's wearing stud leather armor. And you see a pickaxe sticking out of his bag. He's a little aloof.
Can I get a description from Taryn, please?
Well, when you look at Terran, you'll see a pretty average-looking halfling, standing around 3 feet and weighing 40 pounds. He has gray eyes, light brown hair, a trimmed beard, and some lightly tanned skin. He's wearing a brown linen shirt, some leather armor over it, and some rough woolen pants and leather straps around his feet. And on his belt, you could see a short sword and a dagger, and a backpack and a short bow on his back.
And then Dirt.
Yeah. So Dirt is roughly the same height as Taran. He's an elderly gnome, a rock gnome, deep gnome. Sorry. He's got patches of hair all over his head. Surprisingly, his beard is very misshapen and strange. He's got a red rope on it that seems to have different geometric shapes on them. He's currently pacing back and forth with his quarterstaff, kind of looking at the sky, looking at nature around, just puzzling and scratching his beard about what exactly to do with these fallen comrades.
So at present, we have Jarek has noticed your watcher, and I don't think it would be absurd to recognize that Barney notices him see you. So between the two of you two, while everybody is debating the next course of action, what might the two of you be thinking at this point?
So Jarek he can seeing the beard and the approximate, the height, and seeing how he doesn't seem to be necessarily trying to hide from their vision, but at the same time not making himself obviously known. And seeing that most of the other things that have been antagonistic in this forest have essentially attacked them on sight. Jarek's going to maybe try and get Barney's attention, or just make eye contact, and maybe like with a kind of partially to make it clear that he sees him, and also maybe just look with a shake of his head, sort of a kind of like beckon him kind of towards them.
So I see Jarek wasn't sure immediately that he was looking at him, but it was clear that his head stopped at a certain angle, that he was seeing me clearly. So now I see the beckoning, and then I nod my head and get to my feet. Start making my way towards them.
And Jarek might also kind of in a low voice in Dwarvish maybe call out friend or foe, not knowing that this whether this creature's a dwarf, but maybe that's the only other language he knows other than common, and kind of suspecting maybe that it, might be something like that.
Hearing the words, I announce myself as friend, hoping that sound convincing.
So that would certainly grab your attention, Island, and you would hear what direction it's coming from. Everybody else would obviously hear the call without understanding what's happening.
I'm going to take a look and size him up. Do I have any, can I get any sense of him from visual inspection, whether I believe he's a friend or not?
Can you do a more thorough past your face now and into, like, what do you wear? What do you look like from a distance? What sort of items might you be carrying that are evident on your personage?
So I'm currently wearing a robe very similar to the avatar picture, just basically to cover myself from the elements, and basically see that I'm carrying a number of hammers, but also a few other tools that seem to be kind of a hodgepodge of different devices.
So, realistically, you are walking into a group or a small expedition of now 7 people, I think. So there are a few people who aren't necessarily described, but there's the side characters, the retinue. But one of them who is of note will be an older woman with long, dark black hair. She leans over on a staff with like a dragon kind of coiled around the top of it in a double helix kind of situation. And she also is wearing a large robe. And I think everybody at this point, because it should be raining, is actually under traveling cloaks of sorts. But she clearly has like a kind of brilliant purple robe underneath as well. And in the process of seeing you kind of coming forward, we'll walk over and move towards you. And she would say in Dwarvish, "Welcome, friend. Do you require anything?" And she'll kneel down at your level and kind of just reach out to take your hand with her left palm up.
I take her hand, say, "Thank you, lady. Currently have run far from where I was at to escape goblins who came just before the storm."
So she will place her other hand, her right hand, on top of yours, and hold your hands for a few moments here as she says explicitly to you, "You have no need to run any further. You are safe now." But she will hold your hand over the next few moments here. What's everybody else doing as Eku approaches this dwarf who's coming out from the edge of the clearing?
Imagine Dirt would be closely behind / hiding from the person, behind whoever's the tallest person of our group.
I think.
might-
Go ahead.
That might be me, but I'm very, very skinny. So good luck.
Yeah, I feel like hiding behind somebody, it's going to end up being Jarek. I feel like Jarek and Island are the tallest, but Jarek is definitely going to be the kind of a, oh man, bulwark? I feel like that's the wrong word. I feel like that's a butchering of two words.
But I think anyway, so I think Jarek would kind of seeing once he sees Eku come forward and sort of doing her thing and kind of knowing what that's about, having had the same thing done to him before, he would sort of visibly relax as he, or at least relax about this as he sees this going on. Um, he'd probably be too preoccupied to notice Dirt kind of trying to hide behind him, but he would kind of just be um, sort of watching the interaction between Eku and the newcomer, and kind of at the same time maybe half, kind of scanning kind of the area beyond them again to see if there's anyone else kind of like hiding in the bushes.
Island's going to walk over and I say, "Cute, you made a friend?"
I
Yes.
believe we all have made friends here. And she'll kind of stand back up as Island approaches, but she'll look back down to the little dwarf beside her. And my name is Eku. What is your name, friend?
Known as Barney.
And then she'll just reintroduce him to everybody as basically walking forward back into the group. Um, if you are in need of any nourishment, we have a quite delicious porridge, and she's going to pour it towards. Oh wait, the barrel's probably not there. Never mind. I don't have food here for you. Um, we currently find ourselves in a predicament of the moment. We have to lay friends to rest. Have you all decided on how we should go about this?
Sorry for your losses.
Thank you. Jarek would say, sort of with a glance towards Taryn, and I think perhaps it may be best if we were to build a pyre and burn the bodies respectfully. There is some question as to whether we remain to see it through or set the fire and go.
I think we should set the fire and go. I will have the capabilities perhaps in the future to return the dead to life, but at the moment I cannot do so.
Just out of curiosity, would I know approximately how far back the goblins are?
As far as things go, I was thinking that was the reason you left the mountains, much more than that you were currently being chased by goblins.
Okay, so they just basically drove me out of the mountains and I made way to the river.
Yeah, there's no reason for you to make it anything more than more of a threat, or any reason to make it less of a threat. You can certainly kind of treat with that how you would like to.
Okay, then I don't have anything to offer in terms of suggestions.
Well, Island's going to nod his head and go start collecting some firewood.
I mean, I believe we're close enough now to the old camp that we could make it there in a day if we were to try and settle down here for a time. But I mean, perhaps this clearing will be a bit safer now that we've dealt with that plant and those things, but perhaps not.
Well, not to be a downer, but I wouldn't. At least I wouldn't be able to rest easy, sleeping next to our friends' burning bodies.
Did you say the burned bodies?
Yeah, burned bodies. If we're
Gotcha.
gonna burn. Oh yeah, and before we burn anyone, Taryn is gonna go rummaging through Valdis' stuff for his flute.
I mean, honestly, Valdis probably want you to have all that stuff.
I'd taken the necessities, but he can keep the rest. But I know he wouldn't want his flute burned, even if he's dead.
There's not a crossbow in there, is there?
Rummages through it with not what I can see. You can take a look if you want.
Alan's going to think better of it and get back to gathering wood.
So you all can spend the next bit of time preparing this and getting everything set. There is quite a break in the actual weather. About the time you finish the pyres, there's pretty much just like the light drizzle and bits of sun that are among the first rays of light that you've seen in quite some time.
The Jarrett could maybe think he's reading something into this, like breaking the weather. It'll make it easier for us to set the fire, and so he would kind of again say another sort of maybe prayer to Lathander under his breath, and kind of thinking maybe that at least something in this terrible few days is maybe going right.
Alan pats him on the back. Like, I think it was Lathander. Look at that. We haven't seen the sun in days. Well done.
Well, I hardly think he'd deign to answer my prayers, but perhaps he's yeah. And he kind of trails off. He doesn't really know what to say, and he just kind of nods towards the pyre and kind of like a let's get to it kind of gesture.
All right. So let's start these fires and get marching.
Taryn, let me get a wisdom check from you. Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just call me Taryn the Wise.
So as you all finish up here, assuming you head back towards the river and towards your boats, what have you all in mind for the next bit of time for yourselves? You are probably approaching high noon and otherwise pretty exhausted, but looking to spend the day in this location and have a fresh day as you head on toward Camp Righteous.
Dirk would like to talk to the character who mentioned Lathander, and just sort of question him about his religious experiences.
That would be Jarek.
Yeah.
What did you want to question him of?
just want to like ask him about his faith, how it how it is with him. Does he hear Lathander? Does he see him? And just kind of explain that on an evening recently, he's been having dreams about the events or possible events of the next day. Just little snippets.
Well, nothing so personal as that. I suppose Lathander speaks to me as not actually speaks to me, but um, he is a god of renewal and second chances and the morning, and I've found that calls to me. And kind of you can tell Jarek looks kind of he's not really comfortable talking about like faith, and he's definitely not very like sophisticated in kind of like how he you know speaks about his beliefs and stuff. He's kind of like I said, he's not a priest, and he can't really wax poetic or anything, but he kind of and it's you can kind of it's clear that he's kind of uncomfortable talking about it. But as to why he's uncomfortable, again, I guess it's maybe not clear exactly why he's uncomfortable, but that kind of be
Is
the sense you get.
Is this his religion like of childhood? Is this something he's picked up as an adult? Like, is it a childlike understanding of Lathander, or is it like a pragmatic understanding of Lathander?
Yeah, it's more of kind of adult. So like he's done some stuff in his past that he is not proud of, and he's trying to essentially better himself, and that's part of kind of eventually what led it to him being down here in the first place. And so he's kind of like he thinks of Lathander as this kind of like he said, like god of kind of second chances in the morning, and but he doesn't have a very it's I guess it's kind of like pragmatic, but also a little bit childish. Like he doesn't have a deep understanding. He's kind of like latched onto this idea, but without having done a lot of like research into it.
Yeah, I would
If that
almost say
makes
part
sense.
of the childish side of it, though, would also be um, almost like I can't even find the word for it right now, but just kind of that undiluted. I don't know. It's like the innocence of childhood. Like understanding a god as a child is definitely a different thing than being a soldier who understands what a god might do for them.
Yeah, I mean he essentially I guess it's not really transactional in that sense for him though, because essentially he doesn't really feel like he deserves anything. He's trying to essentially redeem himself. And he thinks maybe Lathander would be the kind of god who would give him a chance to do that, but he doesn't really feel like he's in any sort of position to um, make any like requests or like seek the guidance or the assistance of the god. And actually, if that makes sense, sorry, I haven't gotten a lot of sleep the last few days, so my mind's kind of fuzzy right now.
Perfectly in character at present. So does that get to what Dirt is looking for?
Yeah.
Has anyone else anything in mind while you are back at the river, back at your camp?
Well, Taran would probably mostly be by himself, trying and failing to play the flute a bit.
Alan's thinking about one of these spells he's going to prepare for tomorrow.
About how far away do you assume Terran is from the group?
Maybe like 20 feet at most. Doesn't want to stick too far away, but still a bit of privacy.
So, assuming everybody's just kind of spending their time tearing off, attempting to play an instrument, Jarek and Dirt having a little bit of a theological discussion, perhaps trying to stay away from Island so he doesn't butt in as an actual man of faith. And assuming that Barney and Island are just kind of mixing it up with the rest of the expedition at that point, we are going to have a moment where, kind of out of the blue, there is a rush of the sound of flapping wings, and some creatures are going to start to dive bomb towards Terran. Um, Nobody in particular is going to be surprised by this attack, but we are going to have you all roll initiative.
You're going to put us on a map, or?
Now, just getting theater of the mind on this one.
Okay.
Damn, two of you trying to get them 20s. While you are over playing the flute, about 20 feet away from everybody else, you are going to see a winged creature flying down from above. Its wingspan is probably about 5.5, 6 feet. Its body itself is vaguely humanoid, but a little bit more lizard-like. It is kind of like a small, featherless bird with very bat-like wings, a long, pointy beak, and it currently seems to almost be like dive bombing towards you, as if to spear into your body. What would you like to do?
I would like to scramble to my feet, pull out my short bow, and try to hit it.
Gotcha. Take that shot. As you pull back and you loose the arrow, it is going to be able to just kind of jink out of the way and fly right beyond the arrow.
Seeing as I missed, I'm just gonna try to, well, run towards his friends.
So, fleeing back, you can easily get back towards the party, and more or less get into kind of the center of where everybody is. Anything else you'd like to do?
No, that's that's it for now. Yeah, that's it.
After that, it will get to Jarek. What would you like to do, Jarek? You hear the sound of these things flying above, and you now see Terran basically running towards you all.
Okay, so I'm going to seeing Terran rushing in. It's like, Terran, what is it? Like, how many? And I am going to, draw my my crossbow, essentially load the crossbow and hold an action to fire at the first. 'Cause I don't see any of these creatures right now myself, right?
No, you can get sight on them.
Okay, so yeah, so in that case, yeah, so I will take a look, kind of, seeing him, what direction he's coming from, and kind of extrapolating from that, and then if I can get sight on one of the creatures, I would fire at the
What is it? A
nearest one.
crossbow's 80 foot short.
Yeah, 80 feet is normal range, 320 is long range.
Yeah, you can get a normal shot off.
All right, so I'll take a shot at the closest one.
You are going to get a solid.
I know it maybe shout like take cover if you can, just no one in particular, but Jarek, as is his want, is probably going to stand his ground.
Alrighty, so the one that you just shot is going to dive bomb in, and it is going to go for dirt. It is going to hit as it flies into you, and it's going to do 7 piercing damage.
Dirt will let out a I don't know, an ear-curdling scream.
And as it flies away from you, it's going to make it about 20 feet up into the air as it dive bombs, like basically through you almost, and it attacks you like on the fly. And then it is going to go to another one of these creatures. That was the wrong die. It also is going to target dirt. And it is going to go for a big old miss as it flies past you and continues back up into the air. It's feet away from you. And then what would you like to do, Dirt?
I'm gonna say, why are they picking on me? And I'm gonna reach out to the one that has a crossbow in it and attempt to
That one
find
is 20 feet away.
Toll of the Dead.
Gotcha. No effect.
And if I am not within sort of 5 feet of 2 of my party members, I'll try to do so. Otherwise, I'll just stay close to one of them.
What are you getting at here? What's your goal?
I just want to be the least overt target for these creatures.
I mean, I roll a die, so you know you're not an overt target. If you would like, you can roll a die. If it's odd, you're next to somebody. If it's even, you are off on your own. You are next to somebody. End of your turn. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No, that's it.
The next creature is going to dive bomb towards Barney. I believe that's a big ol' miss with an 11 to hit you. And it's going to get about 25 feet away from you as it continues to fly on. There are no opportunity attacks. These creatures are doing flybys. And then the next creature is going to dive bomb. That is Barney again. And a 15. I feel like a 15's a hit for you. Yeah, AC 13. So the next one is going to connect with you, Barney, and it is going to do 6 piercing damage as it flies away. Its feet away from you. Aelin, what would you like to do?
Aelin wants to pull out his healer's kit and use his action healing dirt.
Go ahead and make that happen.
Thank you.
So I think it's 11 all told, right?
It's not 9.
You also add your max hit dice to that 1d6 plus 4.
Yep, the number of hit dice added in there, so it's 11.
Okay. It's 11. Go.
This next one is going to attack Island. Big ol' miss. And it's going to fly about 20 feet away from him. Barney, what would you like to do?
Well, my first instinct is to hide. I need to back myself to a tree, and if I can hide, I'd like to.
You do indeed have the ability to use a bonus action to try to hide yourself. You can make a stealth roll. You feel like you've done a great job and you're probably invisible. What would you like to do?
Are any of these close enough that I can throw a hammer at it?
Yeah, you certainly could throw a hammer.
Okay. Which one do you want me to roll against? The attack with the short sword, or?
Depends what you want to get rid of, basically. If you go ahead and throw your hammer, effectively you can roll either that rapier or the short sword, and that will be something that you no longer have. But you will also do so without your proficiency, as that is an improvised weapon at that point.
Okay. So just roll the attack, and then I guess we'll have to subtract something away here.
Yeah, effectively, if you roll either of their attacks, I think the short sword right now is set up so it does not add your proficiency. So if you roll that one, that's already set up basically as an offhand weapon. But if you want to throw either, that is perfectly fine.
Okay, I'm going to throw the offhand weapon.
So just at, let's see. Yeah, just at one of them, it's low and didn't have a chance to fly away from their targets. You can swing it out, and it's able to kind of swing out of the way and dodge the hammer at the last moment.
Okay.
So roll a d4 for me. A 1 is bad. Solid. There's basically a hammer over near Durton Island. And then that's going to go back around to Taryn. What would you like to do, Taryn? I think you right now, yeah, you kind of cleared yourself from them, and you are inside of the group itself. What would you like to do?
I would like to try to hide in, like basically in Yarek's shadow, like behind him. But
You're actually a small creature?
yep.
Yep, go for that stealth roll. Feel pretty stealthy.
And that was my bonus action. So I'm gonna try to shoot, or my cunning action. I'm gonna try to shoot the one that Jarek hit with his crossbow. With my
Gotcha, go
short.
for it. Solid hit, and that one is going to fall out of the sky.
Yeah, just be careful where you're aiming that short bow when you're hiding behind me.
So it's shitting between your legs from 2.5 feet tall.
Definitely right between the crotch.
Yeah, I'll be careful.
Thankfully, the friendly ones is a gone rule. And I believe that should be everything from you, Taryn. And it will go to Jarek.
All right. So at this point, are there any within melee range of me, or are they all still mostly flying above?
There's two of them that are still down towards the ground, so you could certainly close some distance to the two of them and make an attack.
Just because I'm thinking, because I've got my crossbow out now, and it would be disadvantage if I was within melee range of them, I think. But if I'm still at least, I guess, 10 feet away, I would maybe go for. I don't know if any have been hit yet, besides the one that Taryn just dropped, but I would essentially go for one that was kind of maybe right over the party, taking another shot with a crossbow.
So whenever I do theater of the mind, to me, part of the goal is to allow the most narrative flexibility possible. So there's a few different things that I would put out there. If you want to provoke opportunity attacks because you are a tougher member of the party, you certainly can, by clearing away from something that would be close to you to then take a shot. If you don't want to be next to something so you can take a shot without disadvantage just where you are currently, you certainly can. There are currently 2 creatures that are basically right above head height, and there are currently 2 creatures that are about 20 something feet up into the air. So it sounds like you want to shoot one of the 2 that is at ground level. If you want to run away from a creature to get a clean shot and provoke an opportunity attack, you most certainly can. It's up to you.
So I think at this point I know that Taryn's trying to hide, so I probably would be disinclined to move. So I guess it's just like as long as I have enough range to fire the shot without disadvantage, otherwise I would drop the crossbow and draw an attack with one of my swords.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that is 100% up to you. There's no reason that you have to be at disadvantage because none of them have swooped down effectively on the 2 of you.
Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire another bolt, and I think at this point then kind of ready to draw my weapons for next turn. So I'm going to essentially fire it and then drop it.
Yeah, I probably could have actually mentioned, I think one is over dirt and one is over Barney. Do you have a preference which one you're picking out of the air?
Probably the one over dirt because I've seen him get hit.
Gotcha. So yeah, you are able to take that shot as you put a bolt kind of right through the back of this thing's skull, and almost instantaneously its wings stop moving and it crashes back down into the earth.
All right, and that's my turn.
And then it's going to go to dirt.
Is it my turn?
It is indeed.
Sorry. I'm presuming that took that one out.
Yep, that one died.
Okay, so is there another one within 60 feet of me?
There most certainly are. There's one back near where Island just came from, where Barney is, just above his head. And then there are 2 more up in the air above you all.
Okay, we'll go for the one that is near Barney.
I think, as usual, it seems unaffected.
Per usual. Yeah. That was not great. I'm done.
All right. So one from up above, I think that one went for Barney as well, is going to swoop back up and dive bomb into Barney. I believe an 11 is a big miss, and it's going to kind of fly back up into the air a pretty similar height. Another one is going to dive bomb into looking like Jarek. 17 to hit you, Jarek. I think that's a success.
Yep, that hits. AC 15.
And it's going to do 8 piercing damage to you before it flies probably about 50 or so feet above the ground.
And that is going to knock me unconscious.
Jarek, no.
They try to fall, not without crushing Taryn, who's hiding behind me.
Oh yeah, Taryn dead. And then it's gonna go to Island.
Island's going to race over with his healing kit and try to heal Jarek.
Yeah, so that's not going to be terribly far for you, depending on where you actually want to get to. You can definitely get to him with ease. The creatures that are still alive are all up in the air, so you can get to him with no problem, not provoking any attacks or anything.
Great.
Are you just rolling the healing and then you're done?
So it's 1d6 plus 4 plus 2, I guess. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't really have a bonus action other than, standing over Jarek so that I get hit instead of him.
One of these is going to go straight for Jarek. He is on the ground. He looks like prey. It's going to hit with a 20, and it's going to do 7 more damage to you.
So up 12, down 7.
So puts me at 5, looks like, yep.
And it'll probably be about 30 feet above the ground, and it's going to go to Barney.
Yeah, obviously, they can see me, so I break my cover, move to position to prevent a swoop on Jarek, and stand ready with my hammer.
All right, so you're trying to get to Jarek to be close by kind of thing?
Yes,
And you're holding your action to try to attack, basically?
that is correct.
So you can still bonus action to try to hide yourself and see if you can successfully hide.
Okay, we'll do that with the stealth.
Yep, that's correct. And then effectively, I assume you were basically holding your action. For if something swoops down close enough, you are going to swing at it.
You bet.
And it's going to go to Taryn. At this point, you basically have everybody is nearby you all. Everybody except for Dirt. Dirt's probably about 10 feet away. And then you've got 3 of these creatures up in the air, about 20 to 50 feet above you all.
Tyron will scramble over to Aiden this time, muttering about big folk falling all over the place, and cutting action hide behind him this time. And then would basically try to shoot the one that just attacked Yarrick.
Gotcha. I just want to put it out there as far as using like your ability to hide and then attacking with advantage. In general, you need to move, hide, move, and then attack. Because hiding and attacking from the same spot isn't necessarily useful. But you are able to make that attack. Let's see that damage. And that's going to pull that one out of the air. And then it's going to go to Jarek.
All right, so Jarek's going to get to his feet, kind of shakily. He's got his crossbow. He kind of dropped on the ground. So he's going to draw his scimitar, and he's going to essentially hold and attack the first one that comes within melee range down from the sky.
Gotcha. And then it's going to go to Dirt.
Is the one that I damaged before still alive?
Make an intelligence check. It is indeed. You can get your eyes on it. It still does not seem effective.
Does it not seem effective because my damage right dice is terrible, or the fact that I don't know, maybe it's a zombie bird?
It doesn't seem effective because you don't see any results happening from what you're doing. It's taking damage, but your damage dice are terrible, and it's 40 feet away from you. There's no reason for you to have any confidence that you're doing anything.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. I will scamper over to the rest of the group.
And then it's gonna be to them. First one's flying away. Second one's brave and stupid. It's gonna go for Barney, who I think is in kind of the main group. I think we got you all in the same group there. It is going to swoop down, and I think Barney and Jarek make your attacks.
Okay, I'll swing my heavy hammer. Figures.
You hid though, right? Yeah, you should have advantage. I don't know why. I don't know if you changed roll 20 since yesterday. I feel like you've had other attacks roll with advantage, and that one showed up as a single. Roll another d20. $15 is a hit. So with that will knock that one out of the sky. So you guys can now see these creatures. They are definitely a pretty similar anatomy as to the creatures that you guys have fought recently and kind of fed to those other dinosaurs. But these are a little bit smaller, and they don't carry any artifacts of culture, whereas those other creatures actually had little javelins on them.
Oh wait, the other flying ones had javelins?
Yeah, I don't think anybody searched them, but it is something that you would have kind of basically seen. That the other ones like basically had like loincloths on them and had little bits of stuff.
Okay, because the other flying ones, I know we harvested some meat from them, so I don't know if we would have seen that when we did that. But
yeah, that might have just been my problem with missing describing that in harvesting the actual meat. That's my mistake then.
No worries. Okay. Yeah. So,
but at very least, in comparison, now you kind of recognize that these creatures are definitely a little bit more on the animalistic side, and the other ones were a little bit more like on the actual culture side.
Right. Okay.
Is this something where Island would sort of recognize as an archaeologist that they've got? I guess he's not an anthropologist, but that there's some kind of connection between these and the other ones?
You could do an animal handling, or you could do Nature check.
Oops, animal handling would have been better.
What's your animal handling bonus?
+3, so two more. I didn't realize I had it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change. I think overall you're going to end up just understanding these things are perhaps the more natural cousins of those others, and that perhaps the other creatures are a little bit more like humanoid. But other than that, these are kind of like the more natural beast nature dinosaurs on that kind of flying family. But as far as these go, most of these are about like a 20 or 25-pound body as they lay slain on the ground. So they are much smaller compared to the other ones, where a much larger wingspan.
All right, I'm going to relay that to everybody else. Maybe there's a larger sort of culture at work here.
Mara, this is out of character. I'm pretty sure Jarek used a healer's kit on himself last session. I don't have it in my notes, but I know he used it on a couple people. I don't know if you happen to.
Then as far as that go, I vaguely remember that happening. As far as that goes, then you would have been brought up at 1 hit point when Island got you up there, and then you would have been brought back down. As far as changing how the combat plays out, there's no real need. But effectively, Island, I'll need you to basically get him up again at 1 hit point and mark off another from your healer's kit. Oh, which, by the way, it wasn't actually in the recap, but you guys were visited by some very kindly monkeys, and the monkeys stole one of your healer's kits.
Is that why I only have 1 and not 2?
I actually should have stolen the one that was at 10, because that would have been the one that you would be less likely to have noticed was stolen.
I think you did, because the one I had was partially, is the one that was partially used.
No, in the notes it should be different. That doesn't mean then that I didn't end up having to use that healer's kit to get people up in that battle. The battle with the zombie was fucking epic. The level of it went on for far too long was, for one, quite insane. But two, that battle with the zombies was fucking crazy. I think Taryn probably got knocked down like 95 fucking times. He was a beast.
All right, so I think I had 2 healer's kits, so and I still have 2 on my sheet, so I'm going to make that 1, right?
I deleted 1 from your sheet. I know that. Yeah, it should be 1.
No, if you deleted 1 from my sheet, I might have had 3. I sort of went to town on healer's kits because I was thinking we need them. But I can't remember if I had 3 to start, if I had 2.
If you leave your sheet open across the weeks, you might just have to reload it. If you reload the sheet, it should update everything.
Yeah,
when I update your character, I don't think you would have had 2. Because when I looked at it, you had 2, and I took 1 of them.
Okay. Well, now I used an extra 1 to get him up, and I only have 1 kit, and it's only got 7 charges. So we should be square.
Yeah, so kind of seeing these creatures down, and Jarek is, and some number of the others are bloody and woozy and exhausted, and maybe we should try and find some place to hide out for a bit, try and get a bit of rest in if we can.
That makes sense. I check my wounds and recover my hammer.
Oh yeah, and can Jarek recover those 2 bolts that he fired this time? I think they both hit.
Yeah, as far as that goes, I don't think anything was expended and lost there. So my bad, I had to switch my headset there. I feel like you had said you'd like to sit down for a short rest here, and you all can enjoy that as your day kind of continues forward here.
Okay. Does that short rest incur any healing, or is it primarily a longer rest?
So a big difference in how they do short rests in 5e is that you now have hit dice. If you go into, I think it's on the top right portion of D&D Beyond, you can see the little button that opens up for short rest, and you can see where it has like a tab for like 3 boxes for your hit dice. In particular, I leveled your character up to level 3. Once everybody gets a long rest here, these characters will be leveling up, and I didn't want you to have to level up in session. But you can expend those hit dice during a short rest, and you gain up to half of them back in a long rest. So when you take a short rest here, everybody can basically use up to 2 hit dice to heal themselves for free, and that's actually part of how 5e gets over the need for healing, is by giving hit dice like that. So if you need healing right now, you are welcome to use up to your maximum number of hit dice, and that just entails rolling a d8, and then you add your constitution modifier, which in your case for Barney, I believe is a d8 plus 2.
So it says roll hit dice. I assume I hit that button and then take a short rest.
Yeah, I don't think there's a simple solution for how to do it with D&D Beyond automatically doing it, but I'm pretty sure if you go into that, you'll just get it set, like that, and then when you click to actually take the short rest, it gives you a little countdown that you have to click again to confirm it to actually take the short rest. So does that kind of get everybody set short rest wise?
I think so.
Yeah, Mara, I rolled my short rest hit die on D&D Beyond, but it didn't roll over to the tabletop. So I'm sure you can see it in D&D Beyond, but
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, part of one of the problems with the 2 right now is that if you have it set to roll dice on D&D Beyond, I think half the time it's not sending those over to Roll20. They're getting closer and closer to D&D Beyond's virtual tabletop, and I think every time they do, it makes things less likely to work, but I can check the game log. Yeah, so you can take your 8 healing.
Yeah, I've finished. Do you get a Field of Exhaustion on a short rest?
Nope, you got to do that on the long rest.
Okay.
So, do you all have any other thoughts as to progress forward? That kind of puts you at about high sun on Myrtle the 21st. Do you have any other thoughts about what you'd be doing on this day? Any thoughts on how you are spending any of that time? Is there anything you are trying to look to accomplish? What do you all have in mind here?
I mean, do we want to go check on the pyre and just make sure it didn't attract anything now that we've kind of caught our breath for a bit?
Did we try and harvest anything from those creatures?
yeah, I'm all for sorting through the creatures. I'm not so much for going an hour back to the pyre. Or did we go to the boat and now we're going back to the pyre? If it's an hour, I'm not into it. If it's like 5 minutes or something, definitely.
Yeah, it's probably about an hour away, I think, because we left the boats, we went to the pyre, we set the pyre, we went back to the boats. Now we took our rest out, so yeah, I think it would be probably about an hour back there.
Yeah, and
island,
these corpses might attract other creatures, and so we probably just don't want to hang around here unless we set these on fire too.
Island puts his arm around Jarek and says that Lathander's, got hold of it. Sun's out. It's time for us to move on.
I think Dirt would have finish or start introducing himself, and also give you a very vivid description of the cave that he's left behind. He wants to get back to.
Did my consoling work for you, Jarek?
I'll trust your word.
So, roll a survival as you try to harvest some of the meat from these creatures.
It was Dirt you asked, right?
Indeed.
Who's rolling?
You are. You're the one who described doing it.
I just suggested maybe we did it. I don't necessarily have the means to do so.
You asked about it. Do it.
All right, apparently I'm a pro.
So you're able to get about 6 pounds in pretty choice meat from this. And you guys all watch as Dirt sits back and he spends this time describing his cave. And with a pretty daft blade, is able to carve up one of these creatures and basically take some of the best of its backstrap.
Ah, I guess you learned something from living out in a cave, I guess.
I guess you do. These creatures have like a name, so I'm just putting 6 pounds of meat, or would you like me to put dinosaur meat or something?
You can do what you'd like. You guys don't have a name for them. But you are in a wet, dank jungle. You might want to cook it. As the day goes by for you all here, you will be relaxing along this beachhead. Everything seems pretty simple and enjoyable for most of the day. And most of it's going to go by without a problem. Let me get a round of Constitution checks from everybody. So as night kind of approaches, Taryn, you find it a little bit more difficult than the others to really stay conscious. And you do find yourself like dozing in and out, even though you are trying to stay and keep your awareness in kind of like a peak moment here. So you're kind of prepared for anything. Island would be among the first to feel shudders in the earth. And then probably notice the large barrel filled with the water for the day. You can kind of see the vibration flowing through the water. And these semi-rhythmic shudders in the earth start to become a little bit closer, a little bit more aware that their footsteps. And eventually, even Terran is kind of awoken to this idea that something pretty huge is closing in on your camp.
Shit. is Island awake because he heard these steps?
Theoretically, all of you are awake. Unless you specifically wanted to be asleep there.
No, I don't want to be asleep. So Island, I'm just like, let's get in the boat. We got to go.
Yeah. Just hope it's walking down the river rather than towards us.
Jarek he'll head towards the boat. I think he's got a few pounds left of the meat that they took the last time, and he's gonna essentially just try and get it out and throw it as far away from their camp as he can, like maybe like off to the north a little bit. Just
All right. So if you guys are just bailing on this camp right away, you're going to leave a lot of gear behind. Is that what you're thinking right now?
Nope, wasn't planning on abandoning my stuff.
I mean, Jarek was essentially thinking like hide, but
Yeah, like you guys are set in to camp here for the night. If you're trying to bail to the boats right away, you are abandoning things behind.
Okay, I guess I misunderstood. I thought we were short resting and then charging away. Got it.
No, this camp has been meant to be the place where you guys will sleep because in the morning you hope to make it to Camp Righteous. If you want to push on this evening, you can push on for Camp Righteous, but you're spending the night in Righteous, where you essentially assume the undead are a part of that welcoming committee.
Well, I'm all for following Jarek to hiding in wherever he's going.
Yeah, Taryn was just like hiding under the canoes, if that works.
So I get the impression Jarek is trying to take that's dried jerky, right? That's dried meat.
it would probably be cooked and maybe starting to turn. I don't think it's actually dried. This is the leftover meat from the other flying creatures.
Yeah, I assume anytime you guys cook something and you are not eating it like then, that you are cooking it to a pretty dried state.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it wouldn't. He wouldn't have had like the salt and stuff to actually like cure it, but it would be, it would be overcooked, definitely. Like essentially, um, as well done to try and make it last a little bit longer. So kind of like not real jerky, but
Well, real jerky in the real world is effectively smoked. That's pretty much applying a shitload of salt just makes it really easy to sell.
yeah. But essentially, I'm trying to like essentially throw it like off to maybe like off to the side, like away from the camp to maybe, and at the same time looking for a place to hide.
Yeah, so you can't really throw much more than say like 30 feet or so. Is that enough, or do you want to run it away from camp and try to throw it?
Yeah, maybe I would like essentially shout for the others to like kind of hide and then try and maybe draw the thing away and throw it as far as I can. Like, so like get some distance from the others and then throw it and then essentially try and hide a little bit away from them. Trying to essentially draw it away from the others to give them time to hide.
Are you trying to run into the forest, or are you trying to see what you can do along the banks?
Probably sticking along the banks.
All right, so you could probably make it like 40 feet to the north, or probably 60 feet to the south of where like the boats are along the bank. And then you could try to throw it, you know, um, into the forest at that point. You could try to throw it into the water at that point. You kind of have that option. But you guys are kind of on, say like about 100-foot little bit of a clearing, like beach sort of point here.
Yeah, so I think I would say my movement would stay on the bank, and then I would try to throw the stuff kind of like away from the water, so like into the forest a little bit.
Okay.
Can't get it too far, but
Let me get a dexterity check from you. So Island, as he yells off for you that he is basically trying to distract this, Taryn is yelling that everybody should hide. What is Island doing?
I'd like to hide.
And
The
then
tree.
Barney and Dirt.
Barney is hiding.
Dirt, what are you thinking? Got nothing from Dirt. I don't know if you can hear us right now. So Taryn, you are underneath a boat. Island is near a tree. Barney, what are you looking for as a hiding place? Where's your natural?
Probably the roots of the trees. That's where I'm headed.
Gotcha. Let me get everybody roll a D100. And then let me get perception with disadvantage from everybody except for, everybody, because all of you are still exhausted. So perception with disadvantage, please. Shit, that makes those passive perceptions stupid low as well. I forgot about that. Of course, the two rogues are far more ready for this. So as you all are taking into cover, as Jarek's kind of hucking this meat off into the forest on the edge of the this little beachhead that you've taken here, Barney, you feel a massive shake as you see the tree that you are taking cover on gets clipped about 20 feet up in the air, and the top of the tree is going to come tumbling down. Let me get a dexterity saving throw from you. You are quite deft at moving away from this falling tree, as you see a foot kind of tracks right behind this tree, and you see as this probably a solid like 5x5, just massive knuckle of gray flesh and bone kinds of sets down, and the tree just scrunches up like it's made of parchment. And then you hear another thunderous crack as another tree over near Island is cracked over. Island, make a dexterity saving throw for me. And you see as that tree is going to come down on top of Island and crush him. Make one more dexterity saving throw for me, Island.
You have a chance to pull him out away, or
No, he's away from you.
okay, understood.
You and Taryn are noticing that this is a gigantic dinosaur that is walking over top of you. It is a four-legged beast that is probably about 80 or 100 feet tall at its back. And as you kind of look up into the sky, its head is probably close to 200 feet over the earth. Yeah, wow. 2 really bad deck saves. Holy shit. So yeah, you guys are going to see as Island is stomped beneath this tree and crumbles into the dirt. This creature walks on, crosses back over the river, and seems to just move on. Island is not moving.
I took 26 points of damage.
You did indeed.
Yeah, swim around and try to dig him out.
So once Jarek sees the thing kind of stopping back over, he's going to rush back towards the others, and then once he catches sight of Island, he will try to. The first thing is to get this thing off of him, but he will also try to revive him.
If you're going with the medicine kit, it's automatic.
Yeah. So I will use the healer's kit to bring him back.
I believe that was 2 points below an auto kill.
I think an auto kill would be. I have 14 hit points, so 28 would be. Yes, 26 is
Yep.
2 points less than an auto kill. That's right. So do I get? I don't think you've used the healing kit on me, but I wasn't here last session, so maybe I get some healing out of that too.
Yeah, because now that we use a short rest, it kind of resets. So,
I think that
unfortunately,
one's
it's
on a
only-
long rest, though. The healing kit?
I think it's long rest too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you had to use it on Island, though.
Oh, it says the creature can't regain hit points this way again until it finishes a short or long rest.
Oh, cool. Short rest. Great. Thanks for clarifying that. That's useful.
Unfortunately, it's only eight hit points, but
That's a lot for me. That's a lot more than minus 26.
what the hells was that thing?
I guess the goal is like it's so big it wouldn't even have noticed us, just to stay out of its way.
Yeah, I think abandoning the camp would have been the better idea.
Is
Yeah.
it traveling in the same direction that we're supposed to be traveling in?
Well, it crossed the river and we're going down the river, so
That's good.
Yeah, the way this day has been going, I don't know if our smiling lady is either smiling on us or laughing out loud by this time.
I think there's a lot of laughing. Definitely a lot of laughing.
So you all are approaching at least a sort of rather dinner time type of meal here. You now no longer have, I think, the one of the predator dinosaurs meat, but you do have those dinosaurs that you've slain today, as well as the backstrap that Dirt has already harvested from them. You've now met one of the gigantic creatures that seems to be roaming around this area. And what would you all like to go as you kind of continue on here into nightfall?
Well, I suppose the first thing we should do is pray that thing doesn't come back. Perhaps set a watch.
I feel like so far, let me get actually from everybody. Do an animal handling. I think Taryn and Barney can have advantage, which would make it a straight roll.
Well, not with that.
Actually, Barney's not even tired, so his would be actual advantage. So, let me get an animal handling from you. Yeah, I think Taryn and Dirt would pick up enough to recognize that that creature never even paid a single bit of attention to you guys. You were not on its radar.
Thank God.
Yeah, we were just lucky enough to be in its path.
And part of sharing that is recognizing that you guys, like, if you had attacked it, things could have gotten a lot worse.
Yeah, I'm not attacking anything that's 200 feet tall.
Likewise.
I mean, that's a legitimate description of a brontosaurus, right? Aren't they that fucking tall?
I think they're massive. Yeah, I mean, at least with the neck. I don't know. I don't know if it's 200. I honestly don't know, but it
Yeah,
could
I
very
feel
well
like
could be.
I think if
I
their
think
head
the
is like
length is
semi.
about. I think the length is about 200. It's the height of the head above the treetops would probably be between 50 and 75.
All right, that could be a little bit better. I always thought of them as like a semi, like the cab of a semi, but like hundreds of feet up in the air.
Brontosauruses were 72 feet long.
All right, so I made that thing like 3 times as big as it would have been.
Almost as tall as the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, it's a chunky boy.
So yeah, you guys are coming up on nightfall here. You are getting close to where it is a viable time to go to bed. Sitting back to eat some of the porridge from Eku. Anything else you all want to do as this uh, disastrously long day begins to actually close? If there's nothing else that you're looking to accomplish, you guys have 4 watches ahead of you as you approach nightfall and taking a rest. You can certainly double up with 5 people who can potentially take watch here. What kind of watch order would you all like to take?
Happy to go early.
Jarek can offer to take the second watch.
Yeah, there's we go. I'm dead on my feet. I'm probably gonna need to take the last watch.
How many watches do we need to do? Because that's 3.
I think it's 4. Maybe if we have, if Barney and Dirt do the third watch, or maybe have Dirt if he can help somebody with the first or second watch, since I think Barney's the only one who's not exhausted, or maybe help Taryn with the fourth watch or something like that.
Yeah, I'll help Taryn with the 4th watch.
Ah, it'd be great. The 2 small ones.
All right, so it sounds like Island first, then Jarek, then Barney, then Taryn and Dirt for the fourth, right?
What time are you all putting in to go to bed?
Might be best to go ahead and do it with sundown. That way we're up and moving before light.
Yeah, I would say kind of as soon as after dinner as possible.
I think if at least we get up with like the first light dawn, that would probably be best. I think.
So if I can get perceptions from Island. Alrighty, so keeping pretty active for yourself, able to stay awake through most of the time. You have a pretty clear watch. There doesn't seem to be any activity from the creatures around. The weather still is like has a nice rainfall to it. It's not a heavy rainfall at this point, and it does kind of give almost like a little calming cover to the actual camp, as you all are at least somewhat sheltered, um, as the rain kind of covers your presence here in the woods. And if we can get perceptions from Jarek, please.
He's doing his best, but he's very tired.
Yeah, I think we're going to find that Jarek has a nice sleep through his watch, and at some point during his watch is going to wake up and think, time for me to get Barney up.
So Connie's gonna say a little prayer under his breath that nothing came for him while he kind of shirked his duty and fell asleep, and he will go and go ahead and wake up Barney.
About the only thing that you have that tells you time went by is that the rains got a little bit stronger. And Barney, when you are ready, let me get a couple of perceptions from you. Are you there present? Can you roll 2 perception checks?
Sure.
Excellent.
Hitting the wrong button again.
Like the push to talk or over on D&D Beyond? Bam.
The push
One
to
more,
talk
please.
was the wrong button.
I got you. Yeah, push to talk is definitely something else to get used to.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the Windows key happens to be right next to it, and that really makes a pain.
So you have a pretty pleasant watch. It's definitely hard rainfall. You guys are definitely close to this waterway. There's certainly like levels of thought for you about if you're too close, like a little bit of worry with this group, what's going on. But you have in particular heard about this camp that they are looking to go towards, and you definitely have a certain interest as well. Like you've heard about Crocodile and Man and the shrine that is at this place, Camp Righteous, that certainly are intriguing to you. So you kind of have like a little bit of elation at getting to see a new place. But other than that, your watch goes by pretty clean. And let me get perceptions from Taryn and Dirt.
New place to blunder.
Alrighty then. So while you two are on watch, you have a pretty simple watch yourselves. Very little seems to be happening in the area around you all. The rains kind of slow down a little bit for the evening. You start to see, I guess, the first signs of dawn's light would be towards the end of your watch. And things start to kind of look up for you all for a moment here. And after a few moments, as you're approaching the first like real light of dawn and it's kind of starting to shed into the actual like riverbed where you guys are camped out as, you're going to notice there's quite a few things hanging from a tree uh, up above one of the campsites. And you're just going to spot, looks like a crossbow, 2 daggers. Oh, wait, maybe 1 dagger? Yep. A crossbow, a dagger, a scimitar, a short sword, and leather armor. And they're just hanging off from a tree up above your campsite.
I'll nudge Taryn and say, "Hey, do you see that?"
Ah,
You
well,
see as he kind of comes to a little bit, he was definitely dozing off a bit. But once he comes to, yep, he spots those same things up in the tree.
Can I fetch them down using Mage Hand?
You can't budge the studded leather, but you can indeed get everything else.
Is everybody awake now, or is it just the fourth shift?
Find his key.
It's not long into their shift, so this is kind of happening during the actual sleep, and then shortly after everything's going to be safe, where you guys will be awakening.
Got it.
Finders keepers? Is there anything here you want?
Well, I'm assuming once Jarek wakes up, this seems like this might be some of his stuff.
Yep, you're going to 100% wake up looking for that stuff. That is all of your stuff.
What was it
Okay.
doing in a tree?
As far as it goes, if we are skipping to where Jack can actually join this, I'm going to say everybody take a long rest. For everybody but Barney, I would like you to level here. So if everybody is sticking with the same classes, I think we're going to go for a D10 from Jarek, a D8 from Taryn and from Island, and a D6 from Dirt. So let's take a short break here. At very least, we'll probably take a break till 5:30. But everybody, if you need to step away, do so. Otherwise, when we kind of all come back, once everybody is all set after the level, we will restart and kind of rejoin that moment of Taryn or Jarek realizing that all of his stuff has been hung from a tree. As Dirt and Taryn notice everything kind of hanging from the tree above camp. As Jarek starts to come to, he will very quickly notice that they are his things. And as the camp as a whole starts to come to, everybody is going to notice some other things. So I think on some level, Dirt has collected most of your gear, Jarek. As you kind of come out to search for your things, Dirt and Taryn are going to notice that Jarek's clean shaven, right?
Like some stubble, but yeah.
All right, so Jarek has a charcoal mustache drawn on his face that kind of curls right about his cheeks and then rotates down over his upper lip and then curls up on the opposite side. And then he has a monocle drawn in over his right eye that has the chain that kind of droops down his face, where the charcoal starts to draw onto his actual shirt and down towards like his waist. And that is among the first of the things you're going to notice. But every single person in camp, except for Taryn and except for Dirt, is going to have charcoal drawn on their face. Different people, anybody with a beard, which I think will be Barney, and Dirt will not have anything on him. So I think, Barney, you're going to have one of your eyebrows shaved off. So your right eyebrow is just shaved clean. There's no hair up there. Does anybody else wear a beard?
I mean, Terran does, but he was wigs.
What in the world?
Taryn and Dirt were awake on watch, so they're not. They're going to be the ones who look like the culprits because everybody else has been fucked with. But yeah, those are just some of the things that you guys are going to all come to. So like when say like Barney, when you wake up, you're going to notice everybody walking around with charcoal on their face except for Taryn and Dirt. At some point, you might like rub your brow, but you're going to notice on everybody else's faces that you look funny. And that's going to be kind of everybody's experience as they are waking up here in camp.
Island finds this all very funny, and he says in Draconic, "Well played. Welcome back."
So you are correct. You will find the little dragon is still kind of floating around with you all. And he will kind of just show up with his face just over your shoulder. And he just kind of snickers a little bit.
It's a nice job. A very, very nice job.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then I'll tell the rest of the guys that that's what's going on. Perhaps they don't speak Draconic.
you'll hear just a little growl in Draconic that's basically shares with you. Aaron and Dirt thought they were aware. but they didn't keep good enough of a watch.
Well, they're little, you know.
By this point, Tara would just be like laughing out loud, not even trying to keep it in.
Little but good-natured.
And Jarek is kind of like, he's trying to see the humor in it, but he's also kind of mad at himself for actually falling asleep during his watch. And I guess his main thing is he wants to get his armor back, but he's um kind of trying to be a good sport about all this, but he's kind of not as easily amused as some of the others, I guess.
So would you say you're in a bad mood about that?
Um, he's more angry at himself than at the prank. Like he kind of again, most of his anger is self-directed because he fell asleep on his watch. But he's not particularly upset about the prank, right? It's like that. It's that he put himself in a position to fall victim to it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Zeros would find it all very amusing, but
I think Island, the creature's going to show itself fully. And it's just going to be kind of like standing, looking like how whatever your posture doing, it's mimicking your posture. And it's just going to be watching Jarek kind of moving around. And it's just going to kind of like, not really in a whisper, but certainly not in a audible voice for everybody to hear. It's still in Draconic, so they can't actually understand. But it's just going to say, he doesn't seem pleased. Maybe I should go. And it's going to lower his armor from the tree and just kind of like set it down in front of Jarek.
I'll say that was a good move. That'll calm him down. It's hard to wake up with a beard on your face that you didn't grow. Though I think his looks pretty good.
So I guess Jarek, he'll watching the armor come down, he'll give a grateful nod to so can he see, is the creature visible to everyone at this point?
Yeah, 100%. Right now, you guys see a creature next to Island, again, like postured in the same way. So if he's like leaning against a tree, it's in the same like posture, but leaning against nothing that's actually there. And you just see this like 3 foot tall dragon like creature that is standing up on its hind legs. It has big yellow, orange, and green butterfly wings that are probably about 4 feet tall behind it. A lot of like very stringy kind of like feelers that are kind of like extending out from the back of its head, almost like hair. And then it just has a long kind of canine sort of snout, very much in kind of like the Chinese tradition of dragons. Its face itself is a very purple, like a dark purple to just like not really a sky blue, a little bit closer to like the deep sea blue. And then most of its paws are still in that kind of purple hue. And it's right now standing looking like an island.
Friend, you're mimicking me well. Are you going to take my name, or can we know yours?
It's just going to look back up at you, and I have a very long name.
Well, give us a taste, and we'll shorten it up to something we can handle.
All right, so let's see if I, the DM, can actually do this. So again, this is still in Draconic, so nobody can really understand this. But the actual words are effectively going to be roughly the same. It's just going to start off with kind of clearing its throat a little bit, just with a little, and it's going to remove a monocle that wasn't there from its eye and kind of polish it. Nerathena, Twinkle Beam, Cosetestine, Esla Flora Maximilian, Nivar Sequenta Ara Goyen. And it's going to bow to you.
And I will take a bow to, well met, Max. Welcome.
And it's going to snicker a little bit as it says Max.
So I'm going to turn, sort of amused by all this, and introduce everyone in common to our friend Max, who has a bit of a sense of humor.
From what, just based off of what I heard, often I'll kind of ponder aloud that is Twinkle Beam Dragon for Max.
Yeah, there was definitely a twinkle beam in there, for sure.
Names from different people.
So have you been following us? Like, did you see yesterday when that dinosaur killed me? Did you catch that?
It didn't seem like everybody wanted to laugh yesterday.
Well, we could have used a hand, certainly.
It's just going to form a little hand in the air, and it's going to hand you a hand.
Well played. Thank you, friend.
Seeing that, Tara would just start laughing even harder again.
It's Max is a funny dragon.
Max, what kind of dragon are you? I pay attention to these things. There's so many things in the jungle that we don't understand. You're the first friend we've made.
I'm not from here. My land is a reflection right there. And it's just going to point in front of it. There's clearly nothing in front of where it's pointing.
Sounds extra dimensional.
I think, let's see. I feel like you all kind of already tested to see if you knew this in particular last time. But I think the ones with Arcana could do a check here. You could do potentially religion. Yeah, and that one's not going to do it for you either there.
And as Jarek is kind of putting his armor back on, he's going to, speaking to Isle, and he's going to be like, tell your friend my sour mood is not on his account.
Max, can you understand him?
Was he using words?
Yeah, he was speaking in our common tongue, which probably is beneath you. He just was saying that he finds your trick funny now, and his bad mood is not about you.
Oh, I thought he was just a big baby.
Well, no. He's had a rough couple of days. We lost one of our friends yesterday.
Where'd you lose him?
To some zombies, to the underworld. He's gone.
Gonna see as he starts to sink into the earth. and disappears for a few moments. Dirt, you are well aware that this is a fairy dragon, that it is from the Fey realms. Eventually, he's going to float back up from the ground. I didn't see anybody under there.
Yes, Max, that seems right. Hey, are you gonna travel down the river with us today?
As long as you're entertaining.
Is there any way that you might aid us in that trip down the river? Like, we keep an eye out for things and maybe let us know. We seem to keep getting attacked by crocodiles.
There are crocodiles in the river, and it's going to pull an eye out, and it's going to hand you an eye.
Thank you. I'll put that in my pocket. All right, you guys ready to go?
Yeah, let's see about this camp.
Yeah. Like catching his breath a bit from laughing too hard, but yeah, I'm ready now. So, is the flying snake coming with us?
Apparently, I think so. He won't be of any use, but he'll come along.
If you can keep up with the pranks, you can certainly be welcome.
No, maybe he can sit in your boat.
Gladly.
All right, so we start packing up because I feel like Max is never really gonna tell us anything straight. So we should keep kind of moving, and if he joins us, that'll be great.
Are you guys asking him anything?
I try to ask him if there's any use he could be on the river. We haven't really asked him, I guess, anything about our quest. What do you guys think?
So Jarek, I guess Jarek speaking to Island, he'd be like, can you ask him if he knows anything about, the camps?
Oh, the camps that are right in front of us? Sure. Vengeance. And Righteous? Sure, I'll ask him. So, Max, we're headed for this camp that's just down the road. Do you know anything about Camp Righteous or further down Camp Vengeance?
Kind of nod to you. Kind of like looks off a little bit bored, and he'll say to you something to the effect of, "The silver gauntlets are boring. They take life too seriously."
You play pranks on them, they don't laugh.
They do not laugh.
Perhaps when we get there, we can cook up a prank to see if we can get them to laugh.
Who's looking after the chest while you're here?
He's going to look down at his chest. What chest? My chest is right here.
I'll draw a picture in the air of a treasure chest, and I'll point to back up the river.
Essentially, I have to assume this is still being interpreted through Island. My bad. This thing only speaks Draconic and Sylvan. But yeah, it'll look at that chest and it'll be like, that's really nice. You should open it.
Hey, Max, I have another question for you. You know anything about Vorn?
He never laughs.
Yeah, well, from what we hear, he's sort of frozen, magically so. Have you seen
Good
him?
reason not to laugh.
Do you think we could wake him up?
Probably not with laughter.
Well, if you have any ideas, this is something we really want to do, and I'm sure you'd enjoy. If we could wake him up, I'm sure you'd enjoy making him trip and fall or something, you know.
Is that why you've come to the forest? Is for the slow one?
It's one of the reasons. Mostly, we're here to try to figure out why our friend is dying from a curse.
The dead. They're all in the soulmonger.
Now, say that part again. The soulmonger. What is that?
It's where the dead go. All of them. Till they're dead and eaten and no longer exist.
Where's the soulmonger?
It's deep in the forest. It's a dangerous place. If you're afraid of crocodiles, you shouldn't go there.
Well, it may take us quite a while to get there. Certainly. Which direction? Can you? I have a beautiful map that I've been drawing. You could help us kind of place this place.
He's going to start to point, and you're going to see as Eku looks over and says something in Draconic along the lines of, don't. And you're going to see as Max looks back at her. Or what? Are you looking for the place with the snake people?
Is he asking me that, or is he asking Eku?
He's asking you that.
We're totally looking for the place with the snake people. We don't even know what it's called.
And he's going to look back over at Echo. And she's just going to respond. They're looking for Omu. And he's going to look at her. You've been there. You've not told them. And if you've got the map out, he is going to point out where Omu is on your map.
Max, so helpful, and I'm gonna sit down and mark that in on my map.
And Eku's just going to say, it's a mistake. You don't need that yet.
That's not fair, Eku. We won't go till you say, but it's always good to know where we're supposed to go. I want to
And
ask
I've
him.
always known. Do you not think you're safer going with myself?
Oh, we're definitely safer going with you, and we're going to keep going with you. And now we know on our map we have a mark. Is there more we can know about Vorn? Because Vorn's not far, and I show him on the map where we think it is.
Horn doesn't laugh, and he disappears.
Well, I'm going to relay this to the crew.
Roll an insight for me. Excellent.
Excellent. I didn't have any insight.
Correct.
Can we put a circle or something on the map so we know where he pointed to? Or did you?
It's
I guess
on
it's
there.
on the south side there. It's that yellow one by the peaks of flame. Cool. Well, so I'll share this all with these guys. Maybe with a little caveat that Echo might be a little touchy about all this, just on the down low. And let's get ready to go back to our boats.
Yeah, I mean, Eku is not silent about the fact that you guys should not have that information right now, and that she's had it all along.
Well, we're certainly going to do what we said and go to Mumbala before we go anywhere else.
Perhaps she's afraid should your map fall into the wrong hands. But as in any event, perhaps we should head for the camps, try and do a bit of scouting if we can.
Sounds good.
So we've got you all on a rather short trip into the outskirts of Camp Righteous. I think shortly before leaving, you are going to see as a let's see. Actually, give me a second here. I might need a moment to actually decide here. Shortly before leaving, like as you guys are getting all of the boats prepared, Valdis, your flute, or Taryn, your flute from Valdis is going to start to sound off a beautiful tune.
Huh. I just like look at it.
Just the flute, it's a little bit like out of place, like if it's in like a breast pocket. It seems like a little bit moved, but you just see the flute below you, but it's clearly playing music right now.
Well, it's certainly playing better music than I did.
I'd say that's true.
That our friend?
Of course. He's very talented.
You're telling me the flying snake is doing this?
He's a Fey dragon, but yes, I think he's quite musical. Bravo, Max.
Huh. Amazing.
I mean, maybe Twinklebeam's a better name.
So where in particular is the flute, Chris? Where does Taryn keep it?
I would probably actually keep it like in a breast pocket, like you said.
Gotcha. So what are you doing when you notice this and kind of rest assured a little bit?
Yeah, it feels like this is nice. As long as it isn't moving out of his pocket.
Gotcha, but you'll pay like a little bit closer attention to that?
Certainly.
Gotcha. So you all can continue down the river here this day. You are a few hours out of Camp Righteous. You are pretty certain by about high noon you will expect to make it to Righteous. Probably about an hour ahead of that, about 10 degrees out from the high sun. You are going to spot another small group of those fanned dinosaurs with the bone protrusions across their backs, just off on the edge of the river itself. You have a pretty solid understanding that that probably means that there are some in the river as well. Any particular like level of avoiding them, or are you all just going to try to paddle on by?
And try to avoid them if at all possible. Looking in the water and seeing if we see them. Maybe stand away from their side of the water, the river.
Maybe try to paddle closer to the far side as we spot them.
Oh, that's better said. Well done.
All right. So you feel pretty confident paddling off to that side. Let me get perception checks from you all.
It's always trouble when we feel confident. Finally. I rolled like 8 or 9 so far every time today.
Yeah, just in time to perceive the thing that's about to kill us all.
Well, at least we won't be surprised.
So while you guys are paddling by, you get a closer look, spotting about 6 of these creatures on the riverbank, going off towards the opposite side. You get 1 boat by, 2 boats, and it's not until the 4th boat, Island, you spot that there seems to be one of these creatures that's coming out of the water on that opposite side. But in general, we'll pass right beyond these creatures and move along downriver.
Sweet.
It's not too much longer, maybe about another mile of paddling, before you all start to get another solid look at Crocodile and Man. This is not going to be the same picture as what you would get from the river, but I will here share this for you. And you can see this massive stone structure where Man's head is kind of sat upon by Crocodile, who sits on his back. And as you get closer and closer to Camp Righteous, you see signs of the destroyed location that was once a shelter of the Knights of the Gauntlet, Order of the Gauntlet. Among which you kind of see as you come up on this location is a bunch of temporary tents kind of set off, a small little ring for like animals that they would have kept there, 2 larger circular tents, and then ruins. Among the ruins is a burnt out small temple that you can actually see some of the stone from the old statue to Torm, and signs that that whole temple had burned along with a lot of their different goods there. You see a small dock with 2 canoes that still seem to be tied up. And in general, an otherwise abandoned looking camp at the base of Man's Feet. I think that statue is about 80 feet tall. The initial dais that the feet sit on are probably about like a 2 or so foot stone. No, it's probably about 5 foot stone tall there, and it all sits to that eastern side on 3 like tiered levels of a ridge. And so like each of those ridges, like the ridge that you can see in this actual map, is one about 5 feet tall, and then each of the ridges behind, I said that wrong, probably about 20 feet tall, those little cliffs.
Island's super excited. He wants to know who made this thing for sure. I think we made it.
So assuming you ask once you all actually get back down, Eku can share with you. This was made by the ancient people of Chult. It is in recognition of Man and Crocodile working together some time ago. Man needed to cross the river And the crocodile, sensing his fear, brought his head up above the water and said, "What troubles you, cousin man?" And man told the crocodile, "I fear to swim across the river, for you are here with your teeming brethren, and I will not be safe." And crocodile said to man, "Come, rest upon my back, and I will bear you across the river, if you will do the same for me." And man was gracious, and took the ride from his cousin crocodile. And after bearing him across the river, man turned to the crocodile and asked, "How can I ever pay you back?" And crocodile said, "I too would like to see the empire of man, but I fear for your teeming brethren. Bear me on your back." And after taking crocodile across the whole empire of man, man promised never again to be friends or to bear crocodile on his back, for he realized when it was too late that the crocodile had tricked him. And this was always a memorial to know that crocodile and man would never again be friends.
And the trick was to map out the lands of man.
It was the promise that was the trick. For man made the promise to do the same for crocodile as crocodile did for him, to bear him across the dangers of his teeming brethren.
So Echo, is anybody here? There are canoes, or is this abandoned? Like, what do you think?
I am arriving with you too. Why would I know? If you are curious, search.
Oh, we will. I just wonder. I understood it was abandoned, but I was surprised to see some signs of people being here.
Well, this was initially the camp of the Order, if I remember. They've now set up
Probably.
Camp Vengeance, but this was their first encampment. I believe canoes most likely belong to them.
Should we tie up there at that pier?
Be cautious this much. Weldon probably suggests that they're going to protect something that could be trapped.
Yes, I would like to search around. Perhaps there's like there might be of use or some information about what's going on, but we should be careful.
Yeah, I suggest we take a look inside the big tents. See if there's anything there.
All right, so we'll just take the direct approach and pull right up at the dock, or do you guys want to sneak in?
Try and take like a quick look around and just. I don't see anyone, so I think it's safe.
Hey, can we do like can we listen and see if we have a sense that anybody's here?
You can roll a perception check. You hear pretty normal sounds of the forest. You don't seem to hear anything that seems out of the ordinary.
We want to put in a scout first and then come in, or just all of us go in at once.
Well, if you're stealthy, little friend, go ahead. Lead the way.
Okay. slip off the side of the boat and let the current take me inshore. Then work
So
my
there's
way.
no current in this water. So, like, if you're just trying to stealthily approach the dock, like, where are you guys keeping the canoes? You're just off on the north side here?
Essentially, if we want to sneak in, I think what we would have to do is essentially land the canoes to the north and then have someone sneak in up from that way, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of where I would like to go in.
So you want to hop in the water and basically swim towards the dock, or you want to swim towards the river's edge there?
The river's edge.
Is anybody going with Barney as he slips over the edge?
Tyron will go. He'll be like, "Well, if you big ones are afraid, I guess we smaller ones can scout ahead."
Damn. Island looks at Jarek like askance, but all right.
And are you going straight for the side of the river there to climb onto land?
Yeah.
So let me get a strength check from the two of you.
Oof.
So Taryn isn't able to get up over land. Barney makes his way up onto the land, but you can pretty quickly notice behind you that he failed to make it and kind of turn around and help him up.
Yeah, a little help.
Grab him and pull him up.
So as you all get up on the edge there, you see what tents remain. They're molded and showing signs of rot. From just this quick little look, doesn't look like anybody's been here for a while. If you want to take a few moments to just kind of stop and listen and look around, you certainly can. You can try to hide in the brush and then eventually come out at a later point. It's kind of up to you what you'd like to do for the next few moments here.
Let's stay in the brush. Try to figure out if someone noticed us come ashore. Try to hide.
So let me get a stealth from you all and then a perception. My bad. If you're not following them dirt right now, I'm just assuming you guys are trying to keep just outside of, like, north of them, basically, in the boats. So just kind of disappearing into the leaves around the edge, taking time to look around and see. There's not much movement or anything happening inside of this camp right now. You see a small creature inside of the pen, just behind to the east of the tents. It's got long, very thin legs, a very large, kind of like short-billed beak. Something that would kind of be for like snapping bones or snapping nuts. Either of you could do an animal handling to try to identify it. Or survival. Do either of you have survival but not animal handling?
Actually, I don't have any of those.
Gotcha. I don't think Barney has them either.
I've
Barney,
got the animal. I've got the animal handling, but I don't see the.
it's a +1 though too. Yeah, that doesn't matter. What's
Oh,
your
I got
major
this. I got the survival. +5.
survival would be a +5. Um, you could identify that there's enough characteristics about that bird that it's a predatory creature. but also that one in particular is effectively a infant comes to mind, but it's a child. It's not an adult.
Okay.
So from what you can tell, it's actually trapped in there. Perhaps not that it was the creature that it was originally intended in there. But other than that, right now you guys are looking at this place and it seems empty.
Okay. I think we ought to bring everybody else ashore. Your thoughts?
If Barney goes and does that, Taryn is gonna like investigate to see if there's like any track marks, any recent track marks around the area.
Oh, around what area? How much time are you spending doing this?
It would probably just be like a quick look around of where we are, basically, to see if there's
Like
it's
around the
clear.
north side of the clearing,
Yeah.
basically.
Like
So yeah, do an investigation. Looking by, you don't see any signs that anything in probably the last 7 or so days has been in this area. There's no fresh tracks. Any rain would have obliterated what tracks have been here. I think you guys know that this place was overrun approximately 20 or 30 days ago.
Okay, let's. I'm hesitant to investigate further unless we have back.
yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything around the immediate area, at least. So should it be safe to call everyone in?
So let's call everyone in, and then we can at least help us systematically check this camp.
So does it look like this ridge here before sort of north of does that look like somewhere we can actually bring up the boats, or would we, in order to dock, we would need to go down to where the actual docks is set up for this camp?
I think this map actually does a poor idea of actually showing that there is a small portion that is not a small cliff edge. So I would say it is pretty clear that if you want a traditional docking experience, you need to go. This is kind of the area that's like a beach. Everything else is probably about a 5 foot tall cliff where you could get off of the boat and you guys could probably unload everything onto land, but you're quite literally lifting everything out of the water.
Okay, yeah, I kind of figured that was the case when you had them do the strength check, but I just kind of wanted to double check. But like, if they don't see, essentially, if they come back and tell us like they don't really see any signs of recent activity or movement, Jarek would suggest that they just move down and make use of the docking area to make a little bit of a easier essentially coming ashore.
Okay, as they mount towards the docks, we'll work our way down the coast and check the tents nearest the coastline as we head on down.
What are you checking for? How long are you spending looking through them?
Mainly to make sure that they're not occupied.
Yeah, quick glance inside. There's nothing inside of the tents.
Okay.
Jarek's attention might be drawn to the sort of this. Said the temple was kind of made of stone or partially of stone.
The temple is the burnt out one in the very southeast corner. As far as I can tell, yeah, that structure I think is meant to be like their building materials that were kind of like prepared, but have otherwise since been kind of like laid in ruin. In particular, I think this map builds them up a little bit higher, like they were building a tower. But I think it's meant to be like that's where they were kind of like cutting and like drying lumber and then like burning and stacking bricks that were ready for use. And then the actual temple is that southeastern one that is half burnt out.
Okay. So Jarek might try and make his way down that way and see if there's anything like based on sort of the damage to the outside of the building. Does it is there anything he's able to tell about what may have overrun the camp? Like, does it look like does he like weapon scoring marks on the walls? Does any signs of like broken weapons or anything like that?
Roll an investigation.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, I think realistically, you're just going to pick up. It looks like you can see signs of like oil lamps, like an oil lamp inside of that temple. And it basically clearly that's where the fire started. And that kind of satisfies all of what you were looking for. Is it's like, yep, somebody dropped an oil lamp and burned this building down.
Well, and the archaeologist is interested, sort of like, does he have a sense of what they were attacked by?
What are you looking at?
Well, just like, there's
You're
20
just trying to insight, like you're putting your
Yeah.
finger to your head, like, can I figure this out?
kind of. I think he could, looking for patterns. Like they were
You're in
attacked. We
Chult,
know they were
undead.
driven out. I think it was
Do you
undead.
want to actually look for stuff?
Yeah, no, we totally are going to do that.
Like
I
you're
was
not
thinking,
digging up. You're not digging up something doing archaeology here. So tell me what you're focusing on that you want to figure out what attacked them.
I'm trying to observe the space. I mean, we're going to go through it. Let's just go search something.
Yeah, so do you want to go into one of the larger tents? Do you want to look in some of the smaller tents?
Yeah, I want to do those things with the group. So if we, get out of the canoes and hook up with our rogue friends, I guess that's what we'll do.
So what are you searching?
Well, I think we'll search the tent that's nearest us when we're all together.
Roll an investigation for me.
I think I double tap that.
Oh, you're good. In particular, I'm still going for that as his search. You guys have to decide what you want to do, and I don't like the idea of saying, I want somebody else to do this. If you're thinking about something, that's what your character is doing in the moment. And that's where a lot of searches are going to come from. So in particular, as he kind of like starts to poke around in that tent, you're just going to kind of look around. It seems pretty empty. There's certainly some things in there that kind of looking around, you see enough signs that this might have been like kind of an administrative sort of tent. It's not somebody's living quarters. And taking a moment to kind of just move away some kind of like refuse papers, just kind of odds and ends. There is going to be a quick flash, a spark of pain, as a snake bites out at you. Let me have you roll initiative.
Do you want us to put ourselves on the map or just roll?
No, this is just going to be island.
Oh, okay.
I don't pretend for a second that this creature is going to do anything. This is purely just poking around in the jungle. Yeah, it's Got 8 for initiative. It's a +3. So it is going to bite out. I don't think it's going to sink into you. It just kind of like you feel the pain of like its bottom teeth poking into you as the fangs protruding from its top jaw just barely clip on the edge of your armor. What would you like to do?
I'd like to destroy this snake with my daggers.
Gotcha. Wait, do you not have a shield out? Is 14 your dex with a shield out?
No, I don't have a shield. That's my
Oh, that's just your AC. Gotcha.
studded leather plus dexterity.
So dagger that snake. The first is going to hit. Roll the damage. And that's going to kill it. So you're just able to cut it off. The fangs are still stuck into like one of the studs of your armor. And this creature's head is still like trying to bite through that leather as you remove the body from it.
I'm gonna put that in my pocket for dinner. So, didn't find anything but a snake in the administrative tent, huh?
Nope. Otherwise, it seems like a really empty tent. Pretty well cleared out.
Well, seeing that happen, Karen is gonna be like, well, so I guess you only make friends with the flying snakes then.
Yeah, no, definitely. If Max is still around, Max, maybe you want to eat this, you know? You guys should take a look in there. There's just a bunch of papers. I didn't find anything. Except this guy.
All right
There's
then.
nothing to find in there.
And Taran will go over to the next big tent, one to the south, and
I'll follow Tara.
take a look around.
Roll an investigation, Taryn.
Oh, that is swell.
Roll a dexterity check. Your dexterity might be higher than 16, though, right? What's yours?
Mine
I've
is
got
7.
Taryn is 17. So another snake is leaping out at you, and it's coming right towards your face. What are you gonna do?
Well, the obvious reaction is he's gonna panic and fall on his ass, seeing as there's a snake flying out in his face.
Come on, you're a seasoned warrior. Even at level 3, you're way stronger than anybody else in the world.
Okay, he's gonna try to. Well, seeing as he's coming, he has his dagger near him, so he's gonna try to, well, basically bat it away with the dagger as it comes flying towards him.
So, if you're gonna bat it with a dagger, you're improvised weaponing the snake.
I mean, okay, that's maybe the wrong word. Like slicing towards it.
Gotcha. Make that attack. You get it? Roll that damage. And kind of same thing. Right behind the head, you just cleanly swipe right through the head, and the head's just going to fall into your body. And you just see as it's still trying to clench down with its jaws, and the body is still kind of slithering back behind it.
No. Definitely prefer the flying snakes.
Perhaps we should take a look over near the statue.
Yeah, I'm totally interested in the statue.
Is there any rubble on it or signs that been cleaned or anything, or is it just soaked with rain and mud?
As you approach the statue itself, you see that there's a long corridor opening between its legs that kind of enter inside of it. There's definitely mud and kind of vines growing about the base of the actual statue itself. And then overhead, there's about a 30-foot ceiling inside of it before you actually are at kind of the knee height of man. And this 30-foot ceiling is pretty much covered in cobwebs and vines that kind of cross this opening beneath his legs. But you see a long corridor ahead of you before there's about a 7-foot wall, about 40 or so feet inside of the statue.
Okay.
Is everybody heading inside?
Yeah, I want to stick together with the rest of the group. So
Yeah, I think Jarek might. He would probably light up a torch as well. If thinking it might be dark inside here, but he's he's thinking they should maybe stick together and investigate inside.
Probably want to poke on the ground ahead of us to make sure that it's actually solid.
So you all can place yourselves at the feet, and you can certainly enter inside as you will.
are you going first, doing some like rogue perceptive stuff? Is that what you're up to?
Oh, you can just tell he's an old school player because he immediately brought up the 10-foot pole. He's like, let me poke ahead of me.
I know. I heard you say 2E at some point, so that's crazy. I'm gonna follow behind that guy, about 15 feet behind him.
We actually played just before the first edition Player's Handbook came out, so
So, oh, you know what? I moved actually where your character was. You're now nestled inside of the character area. If you grab yourself by your name, you can drag it out onto the board. But otherwise, if you give me a moment, I will shrink down so I can grab everything. And with that, you should be able to move it. If you would like, he probably wants to be where Jarek is. But otherwise, you can kind of organize things how you guys would like, whatever order you want to move into this place.
well, sure, people in front might be so that everyone can act if something happens.
Yeah, I was thinking Jarek would kind of be. He wouldn't be quite in the front line, so he would be behind. He would let the Terran and Barney kind of take the lead. He would stay a little bit behind them.
Terran would probably be in where he's beside Barney. Help me keep a lookout for things.
You guys want me to cast light on any of your 10-foot pole or something?
That sounds perfect.
Taryn and Barney moving at the same speed.
Yeah, I'm not running out ahead of everyone. Just taking it nice and easy.
Yeah, and I'm keeping up with Barney. Just not moving ahead and not lagging behind.
So I've got Barney kind of feeling out everything with effectively with the idea of a poll. What are you doing to try to figure things out, Taryn?
As notice, I do not have many things. I could just copy Barney a bit, but without a pole. I'm just taking a torch and like slapping it in front of me.
Gotcha. Let me get perceptions from the two of you. Looking forward, doesn't seem to be any issue with the floors ahead of you. You don't really see any signs of anything that would make you think that there is a lack. You kind of are brushing away the cobwebs at that initial entrance, and it's about 15 feet ahead of you where you see some more cobwebs in this area that's about like a 30-foot ceiling. And you can see it's just a little bit beyond some of those cobwebs, the first of these ledges that kind of climbs up about 7 feet.
Okay, so when I'm disturbing the cobwebs with a pole, do they, anything happening other than just moving them around?
Getting a lot of cobwebs on that. Yep.
Island's not psyched. Totally doesn't like spiders.
I was
So
saying Jarek's. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. Tell me what you're doing.
I was just saying, essentially, he's just staying about 10 feet behind them as they move forward.
Gotcha.
Kind of torch in hand. So.
Taryn and Barney, roll a dexterity check for me. Taryn, roll a dexterity saving throw. All right, so as Barney steps forward just a little bit before you, he is falling into a pit. Barney, you are going to fall about 20 feet down to the ground, and you are going to take 10 bludgeoning damage as you fall down into the pit. Taryn, you are able to catch yourself as the floor releases beneath you.
Is it under the spot where they're standing, or is it the spot in front of them?
It's actually that 10-foot square that they are on and in front of them.
Well, then Taryn will scramble back a bit, seeing as he didn't fall in. But he'll take out his hammer and hammer in a piton into the floor, tie a rope to it, and throw it down to Barney.
Jarek's can he try and take a look and see, does this look like it just kind of the floor gave way naturally, or is it they step on some sort of trap? Like, is it like a clean break with the floor, or is it more just kind of like it crumbled away?
There's actively a trap door where they stepped into.
Okay.
Okay, while I'm down here, I'll take a look around, see if anything else is down here. Someone earlier trapped.
Looking around down there, there's signs of like roots kind of poking through, but no, there's not really anything inside of there.
Okay, I'll pull myself out of here.
So yeah, with the assistance of those outside, you can definitely pull yourself out and basically climb back up top.
So we want to try to traverse this thing and keep going inside, or
Yeah, definitely. Right behind you.
Looking around, you see that there's an edge where the trap doesn't fall out. You could probably walk along that edge.
Okay, I'm gonna tie that rope that they used to hoist me out around my waist and just work my way down that ledge, get over to the other side.
You can make an acrobatics check. So you're quickly and nimbly cross your way to the other side.
Okay, is my pole over here?
No reason not to have it.
Okay, I'll just use that as light, and what I can do is I can also use it as a way to help others get across.
All right, I'm coming.
Make an acrobatics check. He's going to fall down into the pit, taking 8 bludgeoning damage.
That seemed really self-inflicted. I don't think that's your fault, buddy.
Okay. Well, I'm pulling him out of the pit on this side. Unless you guys want to back off.
You getting help from him, pulling him up to the east side?
Yeah, as long as everyone wants to continue on.
Yeah, Terran will move over to the other side too.
It seemed obvious that Island's falling was out of enthusiasm.
Taryn, do a acrobatics for me. So when you run across while Island is being pulled up, I need all 4 of you, or all 3 of you, to make a dexterity saving throw.
All of us on the east side, I suppose.
Yep, that's why I had to ask Island if he was going for the east side. So as you pull Island up, there is the sound of like spinning metal kind of shearing against metal, and all of a sudden there are 4 blades that slash out from the sides, and they are going to scythe through the 3 of you there. And everybody is going to take 13 damage, so it'll be 6 damage for Terran, 6 damage for Island, and 13 to Barney.
Yes, gonna ask, what height do they come out on? Are they like horizontal or?
It's realistically, it's that area. I don't care how tall you are; you're getting hit by 4 of them.
Okay.
Is it a one-time thing or is it continuing?
Stand there long enough and find out.
So I'm down.
So Jarek's gonna kind of like shout, like as he's seeing these blades as they come flying. I was like, get the hells out of there.
What are you guys doing now that you know that there are blades that come out of those walls?
I'm gonna healing word Barney. Get him up.
And can Jarek attempt to toss some rope across the pit to the other side, and maybe he can like pull them?
You can most certainly try. What were you thinking there, Taryn?
Okay.
I was just-
What do I do with the healing word?
Hold up, Barney. What are you doing, Taryn?
I was just thinking I was gonna help Barney up on his feet quick, and well, I was gonna try to scramble over to the other side without the rope.
All right, what are you doing, Barney?
Oh, I was just wondering what I do with the healing word because I was down.
Oh yeah, it just heals you 5 hit points, and then you're prone on the ground. It takes half your movement to stand up.
And I still have my movement, so I'm ready to scramble.
Make an acrobatics. And right now, with the two of you blocking that side, they are running into you.
So am I falling in the hole?
I was thinking like once Jarek kind of tried to toss the rope over, he would move back away from the edge of the pit.
Roll a dexterity saving throw, Eileen. You can catch yourself as you're falling down as he's throwing the rope. You'll take 3 bludgeoning damage as you smack into the side of the wall.
I guess Terran is just barreling over dirt.
Yeah, realistically, it just takes 10 feet to move over him, kind of thing. So it just takes you about, 10 to get to Barney, 10 to get across. You're 30 feet. Yeah, to get where you're at.
Yeah, and I only have 25 feet of movement.
Yep, so you're going to basically get stopped kind of right there.
Okay.
My guess is I'm going to try to crawl out of there, not waste the time trying to get up.
What are you crawling for?
The other side. Along the
The other
ledge.
side of the pit?
Yes.
You can make a strength check at disadvantage to try to crawl across the side. And you're going to end up just kind of losing your fingers, and you're going to fall to the ground, taking 1 damage. So you guys have 2 people in the pit right now. You've got Terran back on the opposite side, and 2 people out at the feet. What do you do?
So Jarek's, if he's still got the rope out, if he can, he's gonna drop it down into the pit to try to help them climb out.
I think Island has your rope. He's already holding on to it.
Okay, then I'll just try and help drag him up and see, hopefully the others can get Barney.
Yeah, Terran can throw down his own rope to help
I
Barney
think
up.
Barney is tied to your rope.
Oh, right, yes. He had that when he went over.
Got a pit trap in front of you, and then a blade trap right beyond it, and then a 7-foot wall. What are you all thinking about?
Getting out.
It doesn't seem this place is very fond of visitors.
Maybe we just need to, regroup and think about it a little more. Heal myself.
Yeah, I probably need to search these to see if there's any switches or something we can shut these things down with. If not, we need to try to enter in another direction.
Perhaps we should try to make for Camp Vengeance and see what the order, what they know of this area, if anything.
Yeah, maybe they know something. But before we go, could I just check to see if there's a way to reset the pitfall anywhere in the area? If it's possible, if it's just fallen away.
Do an investigation.
Finally, I roll over a 5.
Looking into it, it doesn't appear. It seems like this is actually potentially the first time that pitfall has been triggered, and it drops the floor out.
Well, damn.
And is the blade trap still blading around, or is it stopped now?
Nothing's happening right now.
All right, I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on myself because I'm almost dead.
Yeah, I'm a mess right now.
So we push you for Camp Vengeance or try to figure this out?
Oh, we have to figure this out. Come on, boys. Alan's super excited about it, even though he doesn't have any clue what the hell just happened.
Okay. Are the blades actually out? Can we see that they're out or in from the blade trap on the other side?
Right now, you guys see the pit directly in front of you, another 10 feet of floor, and a 7-foot wall.
So do people only
Okay,
get
so they retracted.
get
Okay.
blade trapped up on the 7-foot wall, or do they get blade trapped? Like the blades weren't above the 10-foot pit, right? You could solve these problems one at a time, maybe.
You are 20 feet away from that 7-foot wall. You guys did not climb the wall. It was in front of it.
Oh, got it. Okay, so it's in that 10. So the first 10-foot area is pit trap. Second 10-foot area, blade trap. Got it.
And the blades came down from the ceiling or out of the walls?
Is there anything at the top of the 7-foot wall?
The blades came out of the walls. On top of the 7-foot wall, yes, there's more corridor there. I'm not sure what you're looking for. Like, there's a corridor in front of you all here.
Seems like our most dexterous guy needs to run and jump and leap over that wall and turn this thing off.
I could cast Misty Step.
Oh,
Perhaps we should leave this place well enough alone for now. I don't know anything about what's on the other side.
I could try just taking a running starting jump over and then climb over the wall.
Island's paying attention that Jarek is not so enthusiastic about this, though. So, Jarek, what's the concern? I mean, certainly it's challenging. That's why we're here, right?
I'm just thinking we're close enough to Camp Vengeance. Perhaps we should try and speak with the Order there and see what they might know of this area, if anything. This place doesn't appear to have been touched for years. I'm sure it'll wait a bit longer.
Oh, and like the Order was here and they had their camp here, but they never turned the stuff off. That's a good point.
With that point in mind, what do you think they're going to know if that pit trap was still there?
Yeah, that's somebody's venue. If we have any intention of coming back, so just take care of it now. If we have no intention of coming back, then don't even bother with this place.
I'm thinking, I mean, if they were in this camp and they didn't, essentially, it doesn't look like they ventured inside. Maybe they know why. Maybe they can tell us why they never tried to venture inside. Maybe they know something about this place that we don't. Is Jarek's thinking?
Maybe they just never got the time to.
Well, and according to Max, they kind of suck, right? They're certainly not any fun. Is Max around? Max. All right, well, who's got a brilliant idea? We've got one for not going forward, and we've got two for going forward, and maybe three for going forward. But I'm pretty beat up and bloody after that experience.
Yeah, so much. So we have to heal up before we go on, and we have to figure out a way to defeat those blade traps.
Let's see. Terran has a little bit of an idea. He's gonna light up a torch and throw it over to where the saw trap was. Just light up the area, if anything.
Nothing happens. I mean, it lights up the area. Yeah.
Well, three of us got across here when we triggered.
Roll a wisdom, Barney. Terran crossing might have been completely incidental. It activated while you were lifting Island up. You had made it safe across. Perhaps Terran was safe across, but it was starting to happen when Island was being picked up from the pit.
Okay, so it's probably weight sensitive.
Well, maybe our
Bigger
halfling friend is
people.
maybe our halfling friend's the right guy to go.
Well, let's try it. And halfling friend is gonna go over.
Do another dexterity check. Or my bad, acrobatics.
I would recommend going down in the pit and then climb up the other side instead of playing.
Crossover without a problem. No blades come out.
Then I'm
Got a 7-foot pit in front, or a 7-foot ledge in front of you.
okay. Then I pick up my torch and let's see. Ask one if you can throw back my rope to me.
I don't see any reason for you not to have your rope at that point. What are you looking to do?
I'm gonna try to. Is the wall smooth, like completely smooth, or is it like is there any edges to it, like you can get a handhold and foothold?
You can certainly try to climb it.
Yeah, then I'm gonna try to climb it.
I think you're going to be on a strength check.
Ooh, the best one.
You can like start to get a little bit up it, but you're not able to climb up the wall.
Yeah, he's going to need a boost, so.
Tom, I understand
Yeah.
if you have to go. On some level, I am ready to end this session whenever, but I would like for you guys to get to the end of this. What were you thinking there, Barney?
Well, giving him a boost up the wall. I'll go across.
Yeah, that
We
would
know that a third person over there is just no go.
If you were going to run across, make a dexterity check or acrobatics.
Actually, I was thinking about climbing down into the pit, walking across it, and climbing back out.
I mean, you can make a strength check as you climb down. You can potentially fall just as much climbing in and out of it.
Okay. Dex check is probably better though. I'll climb.
You're going to fall again. You're going to take 5 damage falling that time.
How'd I go again?
You okay
It's a
down there,
low
Barney?
DC to not take the acrobatics is a mistake. I feel like you guys are overly afraid of what is going on right now.
Can I Misty step to the top of the wall?
Right above Taryn, you most certainly can.
I'll do that.
When you get up there, there is a breath of flame, and you are about to get hit with... Make a dexterity saving throw. You're going to take 10 points of fire damage as you land up top there, and there is like a burst of flame from the walls to the north and south of you to cover that whole little like 10-foot corridor before there's another 7-foot wall in front of you.
Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to go for tonight, but feel free to keep running, Jarek.
Oh, I got to run too. Actually, I got people waiting on me.
Yeah, so that was Tom saying he's pretty much got to go as well. So I feel like this is kind of where we're going to stop with you guys venturing into this little area.
Well, I hope Barney comes back next week so we can get him up again.
Right now, it's kind of up in the air. I'll try my best.
All right, man. Well, I will. I'll get you up first thing next time.
Okay, we'll do.
So yeah, we will hold off here. We'll meet up next week. If by chance it works out for you, it would definitely be wonderful to have Barney back next week. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed what amounted to be a rather somber session, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this little delving into the first like actual archaeological site in Chult.
All right. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Take care,
it easy,
thank you.
everybody.